Raul, could we start with you introducing yourself to us?
So thank you, Sandra. My name is Raul Ramos. I am a professor and researcher on AI, machine learning and deep learning here in Medellin at the Universidad de Antioquía, which is one of the largest public universities here in Colombia. I've been working in the field for the last probably 15 years or so. When I started my career originally in high-performance computing, and after a while I moved to machine learning. I started working in machine learning in medical imaging, and right now I'm working in different aspects.
Could you tell me a bit more about what your research is about, the current research?
Okay, so right now I am working in different areas. One of them, I am working in steg analysis, which is the detection of hidden messages that can be inserted into images. Steganography is a set of techniques that allow one to insert messages in images without being noticeable, like in the less significant bits and so on. And there is a whole branch of deep learning right now that is trying to detect images with steg analysis. So this is one branch. I am also working on generative models for financial signals to train later on models to predict or to forecast on financial signals, many time series signals that even though you may have a lot of data, as you have to validate it carefully with time so that you don't use information from the future and so on, effectively that results into you having less data. So we are trying to use generative models to have more data to train our models with. And then finally, I have started working recently with the Frontier Development Lab, which is a collaboration between NASA and ESA, and just started, so still discovering many things. But we are going to be working focused on self-supervised learning for satellite imagery in general. Satellite imagery is a field where there is lots of data, but there is not so many labeled data. It's time consuming, so we are going to be working in self-supervised learning.
Could you tell me what was the reason why you chose to become a member of the academia?
Well, I have worked half between academia and industry in my professional life. Yeah. To be honest, it is not that I have ever had a clear vision of what to do. It's like opportunities and maybe gut feeling. It's been what has been taking my career in different paths. So I started working at CERN, then I set up a company with some friends in aeronautics in Barcelona. Then I was the director of a public computer center in Spain. Then I came here. I have my own consultancy company as well. Mm-hmm. So it is not a moment that I made a clear decision that I would become one or the other. It is just life went that way, and I have been decided to do what I enjoy to do. And I consider myself fortunate enough that I can make a living out of it.
Can you tell me a little bit about your work with LandingAI?
I've been working with them for a couple of years as a visiting applied scientist. So I am also a professor, so it was like part-time with them. I participated in different projects at different levels. Very excited place to work, a very extremely talented set of people that they have hired. In terms of the work itself, it's interesting that they are trying to address challenging industry problems. I mean, they want to be pioneers in that. So they are trying to partner with customers that are willing to engage into that. From end to end, they are building a platform which is called LandingLens, which is providing like the support for the end-to-end model development and deployment and so on, mostly for visual inspection, like to detect defects in manufacturing process. And it's been very interesting to follow up the process of creation of the tool. Yeah, the tool includes labeling process, consensuating labels, consensuating a defect book, which is taken then as a reference to train models in a relatively easy way with the tool, and then to have them. The tool also provides all what you need to basically deploy in production the model and then monitor the model in production, retrain if you need, and so on. So it's been really, really interesting to see the process of building that from a general idea that is very, very driven by the customers that they are having. So,
what does one do as a visiting scientist, visiting researcher at such an organization?
Well, different things. Sometimes it's been more organizational work, like how to organize teams, and other times it's been very, very technical work, from training models or doing SQL queries for A/B testing. Yeah, it ranges very much. It's a startup. Yeah, it's I think it's 3 years that they have been working right now. So although it's known and it's Andrew which is behind the whole thing with all his reputation and everything, it's a startup. So things are being developed. And everybody's input is being taken into account, and the things are being shaped. So in that sense, one has to do a little bit of everything, as in any startup.
So what about a Frontier Development Lab? I know that this is a new adventure for you. You've literally just switched projects. Do you have any first insights into it, or maybe you can tell us why you decided to join this particular project? What drew you there?
As a good spade freak, I always wanted to do this kind of stuff. So this is not even a vision of my future or anything. I just wanted to do it, and I discovered its existence like a year ago, and just sent my CV like many other people, and that's it. So they do. I've been working a couple of weeks with them, so as I say, I'm still discovering the whole thing. But they do every year. They do a research sprint, and they define 4, 5, 6 different research problems, more or less different degrees of concreteness in the different problems, but usually quite targeted. Like astronaut health, machine learning payloads for satellites, lunar exploration, lunar missions. I mean, different things. So each year they set up a set of research goals, targets, and they build small teams to address each one of the research targets in a research sprint. The research sprint, in total, not really sure from when we start until whatever product it is gets out. Probably it's 4, 5, 6 months. The product might be a paper. It might be an actual product that somebody can use, a combination of many. There was one of the products that they did in last year's sprint that is, I think, is going to be launched as part of the payload in one of the satellites that is going to be launched next Monday by SpaceX as well. If you focus just on solving a certain challenge, a certain problem, you may solve it, but then it may be difficult to take it into practice. Somehow there is a feeling that we have to jump into AI because otherwise we are going to be left behind. Models have been existing for a long time, and what happened 5 years ago that we were not talking about MLOps,